Hello, Abraham. I would like some clarity on this idea of selfishness. When I look to start writing my new story, when I look really deep inside myself, I see what truly motivates me is to be an uplifter of others. And somehow in my mind that's different from being selfish.
And yet, in the way that we mean it, they are intrinsically tied together, because you can't uplift another unless you are selfish enough to be uplifted yourself first. If you're not selfish enough to tap into the energy of source, then you have nothing to give. So it doesn't matter. Now let's see if your motivations are all in balance. So you want to feel good, but you want to feel good so that you can help others feel good. And there is something a little screwy about that. There's something that says, I am willing to go to the trouble of feeling good if I can help someone else.
That's true.
And we say, ooh, that is off. I want to feel good because I want to feel good feels selfish in an uncomfortable way. People will say, relative to prosperity, we hear it often, I am wanting to attract prosperity, and when it comes I'll give money to this one and this one and this one and this one, as they try to justify the prosperity that they're asking for by promising that they won't selfishly keep it. And this is sort of sounding like the same thing. I want to selfishly connect to something that is uplifting, but I won't squander it on myself. I promise I'll uplift others if I'm uplifted. And we want you to realize that it's the most natural thing in the world for you to connect with that energy of upliftment, and you cannot help but uplift others when you get there. But your ulterior motive can't be for the helping of others. Your ulterior motive must be for alignment with who you are. In other words, look at it as coming home. Look at it as returning to who you really are. Look at it as forgiveness, in the sense that you are now forgiving your disconnection and allowing your reconnection. What could be more natural than being who you are? And then it's just compounded by helping others through the clarity of your example be who they are. But you're not doing it so that they can be who they are. You're doing it because the only thing that is natural is for you to be who you are, you say. Turns out, since we are all in this together, you can't thrive without perpetuating thriving. And so what do the poor people do who are determined to be so valiant that they never selfishly receive anything of their own, but they just want to help others? Boy, they're in trouble, aren't they? I just want to uplift others, and so I have to find a way of uplifting them without uplifting myself. Good luck.
So
can't happen, defies law.
So what I'm coming to in this wonderful 5 days in interacting with everyone, for me to get past that in myself, the story I've begun to tell myself is that Source is becoming through me as a way of giving myself permission.
Good words. We want you to work on not needing to work so hard to allow it, and we're just going to toy with you a little bit till you have a sort of breakthrough here, because it's odd how far so many people come from their joy, and then how odd being joyful sounds. We will say to people, reach for thoughts that feel better, and then all kinds of wonderful things begin to happen. And we say, don't try to close your gap. Don't reach for better feeling thoughts because you're trying to affect some manifestational result. Reach for the better feeling thoughts for the success of achieving the joyful feeling thought. And they will say,
that's hard for me.
Often they say, all right, I'm willing to be joyful if it will help others. Or, all right, I'm willing to be joyful if it will help me get something else that I want. Or they will say, what do I really get for reaching for joy? And we say, joy? Yeah, but really, what's in it for me? And we say, you're in it for you. In other words, reaching, we want to find a way to say, it is such a distortion for you to not be who you are. So look at it as a returning to who you are, not for the motive of making something happen, and not for the motive of being a deliberate creator. Just look for the reason of returning to who you are. A lot of people have convinced a lot of people that your joy is not an important thing. That and they,
or it's dependent on your value somehow.
Well, it's very interesting. They often say with a straight face, don't do what makes you happy, do what makes me happy. In other words, that's what so many of them are saying. Don't you be selfish, and what they mean is satisfy my selfishness, not your own. So a lot of times parents, well-meaning parents and teachers, they have actually, in their quest to get their own children or their students to do what they need them to do so that they can feel better, they coax them into behavior that pleases them, not realizing that they're actually coaxing them away from their own guidance.
I hope I'm not doing that when I'm teaching.
Selfishness, well,
I don't believe I am.
So who do you teach?
I'm a yoga instructor. I do a lot of therapeutic and adaptive and attempting to inspire people to their own healing through yoga.
And so what is your motivation in your instruction?
Sharing my love and passion for yoga.
So when we talk about the teacher in the classroom who is trying to maintain some order in the classroom, the teacher is more satisfied in an environment where there is order. And when there is disorder, then the teacher tries to motivate through discipline or through reward, through showing displeasure if the behavior is off and pleasure if the behavior is on. And so then the students who feel the reward of a happy teacher if they do what she wants, or the discomfort of an unhappy teacher if they don't do what she wants, often then begin looking for behavioral responses from others in order to determine what they offer. And it is through that precise process that almost everyone you know has coached themselves away from their own awareness of their own joy and into an awareness of others' perceived appreciation or lack of it. You just got to care how you feel. That's what the bottom line is. You have to want to feel good, and you have to want to feel good more than anything else. Today, wherever I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, it is my dominant intention to look for things that I'm wanting to see. It's my dominant intent to see my world through the eyes of Source, to connect with the fullness of who I am. And just play with your comparative experience. In other words, notice how sometimes when you're feeling so good that everything is just brighter and feels better, and make the conscious correlation between the warm-up that you did and the thoughts that you deliberately thought, or the meditation that you achieved, or the list of positive aspects. In other words, begin to notice that you can affect your mood or attitude. You can. Don't walk into any situation without pre-paving or warming up. Don't pick up the telephone is ringing. Stand there and let it ring a while you do the warm-up before you answer the phone. Think about how you want to be when you answer that phone. Think about the clarity that you want and the demeanor that you want to have. And if you don't get there, don't pick up the telephone. When you get into your automobile before you drive anywhere, sit there and do the vibrational warm-up. Think about the appreciation that you have for the highways and for the vehicles and for the fuel and the fuel system and for your agility and for your ability. Think about where you're going and why you're going there and the reason that you're going, and tune in to the vibration of who you really are. Prepave yourself into alignment before you perform the actions of your life experience. And before you know it, you will come to the place where you will be unwilling to proceed in any behavioral patterns whatsoever without first accomplishing alignment with Source. In other words, begin saying to yourself, I go nowhere without who I really am. My inner being goes everywhere I go. New button. My inner being goes everywhere I go. My inner being is always with me. We are a team. I am a total me. I am complete. I am full of myself. I never have a conversation with anyone unless I'm full of myself. In other words, there are a lot of ways that you can circumvent the idea of the feeling of joy. I'm satisfied in my life and eager for more. I love this life experience. I love coming forth into this physical experience. I love being the vessel and the vortex through which Source gets to play and dance in this time-space reality. I love keeping my promise to Source. I love allowing Source to flow through me. And now I'm selfishly going to get what has always been promised to me in return. I get to feel what it feels like to be the vortex through which Source flows. Do you know that you are the vortex through which Source flows always, whether you know it or not? But when you know it and you tune to the frequency so that you get to feel what Source feels as Source flows through you, that's what joy is. That's what joy is. And so think about what selfishness is. Selfishness is finally being self, you see. We got a little carried away there, but we so want you to feel who you are. Very good. Yes.